The papyrus, putting on my table every month. I don't wanna be sad. Don't even try to hide it. No, I don't wanna lose it. And you say how it is, it's so inviting. The papyrus, we're all so alive. The papyrus.
Nigerian News Digest coming your way from the Papyrus TV. You're welcome. The headlines. Tinubu reaffirms Nigeria's commitment to interfaith unity during historic Vatican visit. Okechukwu rejects compulsory voting bill, demands implementation of Uwaya's report. Federal government orders phase out of satellite campuses. Governor Zulum warns of total insurgency takeover, calls for urgent military intervention. Presidency accused of luring opposition politicians with promises of tickets and contracts. Bauchi State approves new salary structure to curb mass migration of health workers. Bayelsa politician says Fubara must apologize to Wike, accuses Diri of fueling PDP crisis. The details. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has reaffirmed Nigeria's commitment to promoting global peace through interfaith dialogue, unity, and religious diplomacy amid rising global tensions. The pledge came during his diplomatic visit to Rome on Saturday, May 17th, to attend the inaugural Mass of Pope Leo XIV, the newly enthroned 267th Pontiff of the Catholic Church. Upon his arrival, Tinubu was received by Cardinal Pietro Parolin, the Vatican Secretary of State, who also hosted him at a private dinner. According to the president's official social media handle, the discussion centered on shared visions of peace, fraternity, and solidarity. Our conversation was grounded in fraternity and a common vision for the future, Tinubu posted, emphasizing mutual respect and global unity. During their talks, Tinubu thanked the Vatican for its historical and spiritual support to Nigeria's Catholic community and assured that Nigeria remains steadfast in advocating interfaith tolerance. He described the visit as symbolic of Nigeria's intention to build bridges of understanding amid deepening sectarian divides worldwide. His participation in the Vatican Mass further cemented Nigeria's image as a regional player in peace-building and religious reconciliation across Africa, particularly in conflict-prone zones. Meanwhile, prominent APC founding member Osita Okechukwu has warned against the proposed legislation to enforce compulsory voting in Nigeria, describing it as punitive and misdirected. While addressing the media in Abuja, Okechukwu acknowledged the low voter turnout plaguing Nigeria's democracy, but argued that coercion is not the solution. The proposed amendment to the Electoral Act 2022, spearheaded by Speaker Tajuddin Abbas and co-sponsored by Honorable Daniel Asama, aims to emulate countries like Australia and Brazil, where voting is mandatory. But Okechukwu, a former Director General of Voice of Nigeria, said forcing participation in a broken system is akin to punishing victims of bad governance. Instead, he urged the National Assembly to prioritize recommendations from the Justice Uwaya's Electoral Reform Committee, especially the public nomination of INEC commissioners. The surest way to restore trust in the electoral system is to implement the Uwaya's report, he said, invoking Einstein's caution against repeating failed methods. Continuing, the Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa, has announced sweeping reforms to Nigeria's tertiary education sector, including a proposed ban on satellite campuses and new criteria for accessing TET fund support. At a stakeholders forum in Lagos, Alausa said institutions with fewer than 2,000 students after 5 years of existence would no longer be eligible for TET fund grants. He stressed that resources must be optimized and that tertiary education must move away from political patronage. We want value for every kobo spent. Migrate away from satellite campuses, he urged school heads. Alausa also disclosed that 85% of students sponsored abroad on government scholarships never return, prompting a shift towards investing in local capacity. In response, the ministry has created 28 postgraduate centers of excellence across Nigeria to reduce brain drain and boost institutional performance. TET Fund Executive Secretary Sonny Echono added that institutions mismanaging funds or underperforming will be removed from the beneficiary list as the agency pivots towards public-private partnerships and more sustainable funding mechanisms. Moving on, Borno State Governor Babagana Zulum has raised a stark alarm over the deteriorating security situation in Mate local government area, revealing that only one community remains under government control as Boko Haram and ISWAP insurgents tighten their grip on the region. During a visit to the area on Sunday, May 18th, Zulum urged urgent military intervention, warning that losing the last town could mean the total fall of Mate. He said over 20,000 residents have fled in recent days and that the repeated displacement of citizens is feeding radicalization among idle youths in refugee camps. Mate had over 300 towns and villages. Today we are down to one. This is not a time for silence, Zulum said. Despite the threats, the governor spent the night in Mate, an act he hopes will encourage some displaced persons to return. Zulum reiterated his call for a permanent and reinforced military presence, stressing that his administration remains committed to supporting the armed forces in the fight against terrorism in the Lake Chad region. In another development, insiders and political analysts have disclosed a growing pattern of opposition defections to the APC, driven largely by offers of automatic tickets and federal contracts ahead of the 2027 general elections. The ruling party, under President Tinubu's strategic leadership, is reportedly leveraging government incentives to expand its political dominance. While defectors publicly cite internal crisis or ideological alignment, sources say many are lured by guarantees of governorship and legislative seats, as well as access to state-funded contracts. This trend has already seen one sitting governor switch parties and several PDP leaders gravitate towards the APC. Analysts fear this patronage-based realignment is undermining efforts to form a united opposition front capable of challenging the APC. Despite efforts by former Vice President Atiku Abubakar to galvanize opposition unity through alternative platforms like the SDP, the momentum appears to favor the ruling party. Critics warn that the defection wave could be less about national interest and more about political survival and financial gain, threatening democratic pluralism in Nigeria. Furthermore, in a decisive move to stem the mass exodus of healthcare professionals, the Bauchi State Executive Council has approved a new salary structure and comprehensive welfare package for doctors and health workers. Announcing the decision after a SEC meeting chaired by Governor Bala Mohammed, Head of Service Muhammad Sani Umar said the new measures include housing loans, car loans, rural allowances, and improved hospital security and equipment. The state also approved full welfare for NYSC doctors posted to state-run hospitals. A government committee had earlier found that poor working conditions and limited career progression were the primary drivers behind the loss of skilled workers. The state will now implement CONMES and CONHES salary scales for all its health workers. The Commissioner for Health confirmed the lifting of a previous recruitment embargo and the reinstatement of pre-service training programs. Officials believe the overhaul will significantly improve healthcare delivery and retention of skilled professionals across Bauchi State. Conclusively, Labour Party's former Bayelsa governorship candidate, Udengs Eradiri, has taken a hardline stance in the escalating feud between Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara and his estranged mentor, FCT Minister Nyesom Wike. In a blistering interview, Eradiri accused Governor Doye Diri of misleading Fubara into political rebellion and called on Fubara to apologize publicly. Who was seen before Wike? He should kneel and beg the man who made him, Eradiri declared. He criticized Diri's perceived double standards, citing the Bayelsa governor's retention of long-serving commissioners as a sign of loyalty to prior agreements. Eradiri dismissed efforts to frame the internal PDP crisis as an ethnic conflict, saying, "You turn a PDP crisis into an Ijaw war, yet still fly from Wike's airport. That's hypocrisy." Eradiri's remarks reflect growing disquiet within the PDP as Wike loyalists demand accountability and respect from those who benefited from his political influence but have since broken ranks.
The papyrus, put it on my table every month. I don't